All right, hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Singapore Grand Prix, and we've got a short grid today, but we've got two commentators in the booth. ISRL Knight bringing you this Grand Prix with ISRL Mushroom alongside me, and we've got a tight street circuit. It's nighttime here. Hopefully we got some more guys joining in during qualifying, but if not, then it's going to be a very small grid. How are you doing, Mushroom?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm really excited to be here commentating tonight with a Williams first out on track.
And that's the Williams of One Wing, I believe. So we'll right on board with him. It's a lengthy circuit here, not necessarily in distance, but in terms of lap times. There's a lot of stop and go corners that you don't really take any of these flat out, except for almost that last turn before the start finish line. And the rest of it's straight, so there's a lot of stoppings, a lot of going. This lap takes about a minute 40 to a minute 43, depending on how quick you are. And it's that means that as one wing goes, it's very close to the wall there. That means that it's a long Grand Prix. You're not going to do a whole lot of laps here, but it's one of the longer races of the calendar, alongside with Belgium. And with the walls so close like they are right now, it's all about keeping the car in one piece, keeping it out of the wall. Make sure you don't pick up much damage, and that you make it to the end of the Grand Prix in the first place. And with only 13 drivers so far, if one of those guys does get an incident in the race, it's going to impact them. It's going to impact everyone else quite a bit, because we might see some people not finish, but finish in the top 10. And we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Mushroom, are you familiar at all with the pit strategy around here? And can you tell us a bit what you think these drivers are going to be looking to do?
I think with a track so tight and technical, with mistakes going to be aplenty, I would be risking starting on the mediums, counting on a safety car in the first few laps when everyone's getting the shoulders out, and trying to get them first few places in what will be ultimately a very long Grand Prix, if not the longest of the season. Going forward, maybe a soft strategy if you're one of the faster guys that gets caught out in qualifying at the back could help you gain some positions early on, but I expect maybe a V-Mark pull.
Could see V-Mark starting at the front. He's been doing quite well lately. 2 wins last week in the Dutch Grand Prix. 1 in Division 4, 1 in Division 2. And coming off a hot streak, I guess. He is leading the Driver of the Week vote right now. So he might be Driver of the Week for the Dutch Grand Prix as well. He's definitely the man to watch. Kurt Valletta, the championship leader, not in action today. Which means if V-Mark, I believe you said it earlier, it finishes second or higher, he takes the lead of the championship. And that would be quite huge for him. It's been Kurt Valletta's lead. It's been Kurt Valletta's championship very much since race 1. He won the first 4 or 5 races of the season, and took a commanding lead, won some more races after a brief disappearance from a DNF. And he's dominated the season, but missed the last few races, and Cyril Mark has had a great couple of last races. It's allowed him to catch back up in this championship fight.
Yeah, the form that VMAC's shown over the last 2 weeks has been little more than impressive. Like, he's not been competing with him, and he's pulled that gap right back down to within 30, and with Kurt Valletta being not here, that opens the championship up a lot more and allows maybe a title fight towards the last few races.
Yeah, the Dizzy in our chat says Nazareth will win. And Nazareth is quick. There's no denying it. I just I don't see anybody really competing with the hot streak that Mark is on lately.
I'd like to point out VMark is currently going purple on a set of mediums, and into the last sector he comes, coming up to the last corner.
And yeah, indeed he is. A couple of drivers qualifying on the medium compound tire right now. Cyril Mark is one of them, beats AJ Wuhan by a 10th. And AJ Wuhan with 135.2 did beat 2 soft tire runners by a significant margin as well. Victor and One Wing setting their laps prior. And so it looks like the 2 CRL boys who are in attendance today going to be having a nice little battle at the front. This 23 corners this circuit, and you got to navigate each one of them pretty much flawlessly if you want to take pole position here. Sprunky almost getting impeded by Jordan Visser there, but he moves out of the way just in time. And in the Ferrari, he's got I believe he's got a win recently, doesn't he?
Asian is going purple in sector 1, so I'm going to keep on board with this lock and see how it turns out. It's looking very tidy so far.
Aizen in the Mercedes has been qualifying quite well these past few races, always near the top 5, finishing quite well also, but since he is, I believe he is a reserve for this division, those points aren't counting, but he would be working his way up the championship if he was here full time. And
I think if you're reserving, it's a brilliant builder for the weekend. It really gives you a good confidence boost knowing that you've already performed once really well and you've got a bit of a flow with the track. So I think Asian won't be looking for maybe a win, but he'll be looking just to get a solid foundation going into Sunday's race with maybe some tyre strategy. Oh, we've got a Force India off.
We do, and that's Rusty Oilcan, who's had a spin and some damage on that front wing, so that's going to be the end of his lap. Mark is happy with that lap. He's on the mediums, 135.1. He knows he's not going to beat that by going out again on the mediums, and he's going to retire from the session in the pit lane. So I was on board with Sprunky. It did look like he invalidated his lap, but still going P4, or staying P4 rather. He's driver of the week 2 weeks ago. Got a win in Italy in a P2 in Division 4 on the same track. Looking to replicate that. Didn't have the same luck last time out though. Jordan Visser in the Red Bull, he's invalidated that lap. So he's going to have to try again. I believe Ephraim is on a lap, and I did see that fastest sector 2 flash up briefly. And
yeah, it's looking very tidy from Ephraim.
Yeah, you were looking at Aizen. He went P3, but Ephraim coming through sector 3 now and keeping that lap tidy.
Yeah, around here it's not maybe about carrying the most speed, it's about stringing a tidy lap together, not putting too much on the line and collecting walls. You're just looking for a solid lap really, you don't want to take no risks at the start.
Yeah, and this track, we mentioned the walls before, where I have to mention them again. They're so close to you. Like, look on the exit of this corner here. There's about 1.5 feet, maybe. Okay, it was probably more than a foot, 1.5 meters between that curb and the edge of the wall. And if you exit wide, it's super easy to drift into it. Same going onto the straightaway here. And I do forget the name of this straightaway right now. Raffles Boulevard, sorry. Yeah, onto Raffles Boulevard. It's so close. You always got to take as much of that track as possible, and any mistake could result in a broken wing. So it's right what you're saying. You just gotta, no nonsense. You don't want to over push the car. If you're qualifying on the soft tires, you could probably get away with it just from having extra sets. So long as you don't DNF. But if you're qualifying on the mediums, especially right now, you absolutely want to keep that car out of the barriers. There was only one car on track. We got 2 now. Rusty Oilcan trying to improve that 139. Did you catch why or how that's been happened earlier?
I didn't catch how or why. I just seen the Force India backwards in the runoff area, so hopefully it's nothing too major.
Yeah, in our comment section, we have the Dizzy saying he's the one who said Nazareth was going to win. He also says too early to retire. Track evolution is key here, and he is right. If you're qualifying on the softs, this track is going to ramp up quite a bit in terms of grip. We've got 8 minutes left in qualifying, so still a lot of time. But these guys on the medium, if they go out again, then their mediums are going to be unnecessarily worn. And if you qualify in the top 10 on those mediums, then you've got an advantage starting the race. And if you fall outside the top 10, you get another fresh set of mediums. So for them, those two guys, especially after setting a time that was remarkably competitive. Oh, no. Rusty Oilcan going straight there. I don't know what happened. I think he cut the corner too much, and he smacks that wall.
Oh,
and trying to spin back the right way, he hits the wall again, retires the car, and this definitely too much throttle. They're trying to spin turn the car, and hopefully that doesn't impede anybody. It's out of the way, but
There's no one currently on a lap, I don't think, so we're okay.
yeah, there's Rusty Olacan was on his lap. I was following him, and yeah, I don't know if he got wheel spin and went to the wall or just tried to cut that corner too tight, but he absolutely smacked the side of it with his the front right side of the car.
Yeah, I think that would be a massive shame for him, saying he's not really got a competitive lap on the board with a 39. I feel like he'll think he could have done better and been higher up, but all to play for. There is no points for qualifying once again, so
absolutely
he can step it up tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a drive up the field here for Rusty Olacan. Unless somebody does not set a lap time, I think he will start last. But luckily for him, it's last is P13 right now, so not too bad. Not Rusty Olacan, Doomsray 86 decided to give the medium tires a go. He saw how everyone else was doing on them and wants to check it out for himself. He's about halfway through his lap here. Nice exit there, just ever so slightly missing the wall, and that's what you want to do. Cut that corner nice and tight. That orange is not there to scare you. You gotta go right close to it through the bridge. You want to hug that right side, and going a little bit deep on that apex is going to cost them some time. But let's take out the lap data here as we get towards the end of qualifying. Coming through the end of Sector 2, he's just about matched his time on the medium tires. And remember, his last time was set on the softs, so quite a run here from Doomsray.
Yeah, an improvement here would definitely help him out in the long run, but it's a very hard sector, so I'd expect him to improve just because the mediums will stay with you longer through the lap.
He's kept it clean here all the way through the end to the penultimate 2 corners, and did have to slow down just a little bit to avoid cutting the corner, and I think that, that did end up costing him a little bit. I think he turned too early there on turn 19 and had to get off the throttle to avoid cutting it, and or rather readjust the steering, and I think that did cost him some time. And unfortunately for Doomsray, that medium tire run is not going to be his best one. Victor is coming to the end here. Oh, Jordan Visser going P1 there, and that's the track evolution that Dizzy was talking about, but Jordan Visser had not set a lap time on the mediums yet, and that's how he's able to get ahead.
Yeah, I think Sprunky's on a winner here on his first lap. Oh, a bit of a contact with the wall, but he's on running on the mediums as well. With the track ramping up as it is, I'd expect maybe Nazareth to put a solid lap in on the mediums.
And Dizzy did predict the track evolution quite accurately. Let's see if he predicts a Nazareth victory or Nazareth pole position as well. And Sprunky coming to the end of Sector 2, and he's up on Doomsray's time, but he's slightly down on his time.
A tidy last sector can really help that though.
And yeah, you just got to keep it tidy here, very close to the wall here. Probably going to cost him a little bit of time. Cosmo joining just in time. That's nice to see. So we're going to have at least 14 drivers on the grid. And Sprunky exiting as wide as he possibly can, but he's going to be diving in the pits there, not happy with that lap time. You saw him get a little bit fidgety there in Sector 3. The car, all of a sudden, did not seem as happy with it.
No, he did collect the wall earlier in the lap, so I'm wondering if he maybe picked up a minor bit of damage that caused him one this year.
It is possible that he did, at the very least, cost himself enough speed to want to abandon that one. Jordan Visser is Ephraim on a lap behind him. I think Ephraim is, and I do hope Ephraim doesn't get impeded here with the dirty air of a go when he doesn't validate, does he? And I hope that was his outlap. And, yeah, I think he's going to go for it again here because he would have pit. And yeah, DRS open. I probably put enough fuel for 2 laps, or that was his outlap, and he was just pushing quite hard on it. And Ephraim trying to give one last chance. I think here he has a shot on the softs at getting in at least the top 5, maybe splitting that top 3 there, but he's got to put a great lap in place.
So with 3 minutes left, I'm suspecting if anyone that's not out the garage in the next 30 seconds is probably going to be out or starting on some seriously worn tyres.
It's if they want to set another lap, they're gonna have to go right now. It's about 2 minutes around this circuit when you're not going at race speed. Nazareth goes P2, just barely going behind Jordan Visser, ahead of Mark though. So Nazareth with a good lap there puts him in a good position at taking the lead into the opening corner tomorrow.
Cosmo's gonna get a lap. He's made it out of the pit lane.
Well, good for Cosmo joining there just in time. I do hope he wasn't rushing so much he forgot his setup. But maybe, just maybe, Cosmo could be a surprise here in qualifying. Jordan has not set a lap time yet, and I see him going out on track now. I think that could be Aizen. I don't want to switch off Ephraim just yet, but we're gonna see as soon as he pulls out of the pit lane here.
Ephraim is on a really good lap here, I think.
Yeah, coming to the final corner here. And it's going to be a 135, but not going to be enough to get himself any further up the order. It does improve his time, though, and Ephraim going to be starting on those soft compound tires for the start of this race. Sprunky's on his out lap. Cosmo is on a hot lap, I believe. I don't see out lap next to their name. And no, saving.
Left the pit lane, and it'll be really close because he's left with precisely a lap time's worth of time. So he can't really afford to slow down. This is going to have to be a racing lap if he's hoping to improve from P10.
Yeah, Doomsray in the McLaren probably cutting it just a little too close. If he gets, there's some cars ahead. I don't know if they're on their in laps or not. Ephraim is, and ahead of him that is Aizen. So they're on their out laps. And if Doomsray is going to want to catch up to them, but they're all three of them are cutting it. Aizen's cutting it quite close as well, isn't he?
Yeah. Here goes Cosmos on the start of his lap out of turn 3 down into turn 4.
And can Cosmo improve this?
Oh, he hit the wall. Ooh.
That's some damage from Cosmo. Yeah, too eager on the throttle there.
Yeah, too eager on the throttle or not eager enough on the brake. That's going to really affect him. He's going purple somehow, though.
So that downforce down the straightaway, right?
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah. Jordan Visser starting another lap. Doomsray is actually just overtaken Aizen and Ephraim, and he's going to be crossing the line with just a little
Doomsray
bit.
will make it.
Yeah, a little bit under 10 seconds. Will Aizen make it, though?
Aizen could be in trouble here.
No, I don't think he's going to make it. But is he going in the pits?
He's not made it.
No, he's not made it.
Too long. Oh, dear.
And so Aizen not going to get that last quality time in. And I thought Aizen was going to get it, but he backed off too much to let Doomsray get ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a Mazepin sort of situation where Aizen's going to be a little bit unhappy with how Doomsray did him in the last 10 seconds of that session, but there was definitely time for him to make the line if he was a little bit more eager.
Yeah, Sprunky was trying to improve his lap. He's got wing damage, so not going to be the case for him. And Cosmo behind has wing damage as well. And has invalidated the lap, so not going to set a time in the end. Jordan Visser is the next car on track behind them, and he's going again on those medium tires. He was up on his time, but has evidently hit the wall and forced to back down and back off of that time. And I think giving some unintentional slipstream to Doomsray there. And
Doomsray, it's half a second up on his time, though, so this could maybe launch him well into the top 10.
That slipstream has definitely helped, but right now he's a full 2 seconds off P8, so definitely needs to improve his time by quite a significant margin. Can he do it? He's coming to the final sector here. He's got about 10 more seconds to go to the line, and 2 corners to do it. Not getting as much not going as wide as he could there on the exit. It's going to cost him a little bit. He's going to cross the line. He will improve, but will not improve his position.
So, are we going to see a winner from outside the top 5 on a soft strategy, or are we going to see one of the top 4 on the medium go through to take a win? I think the top 4 have the advantage, but obviously with an early safety car, that advantage is completely wiped out.
Yeah, and some of this top 4, keep in mind, there are reserves. I know some of the reserves in Division 4 like to park it at the end of the race and retire and not steal any of the points. So expect Nazareth to be in contention at the end of this Grand Prix. But your qualifying order right now is Jordan Visser, Nazareth, C-Mark, your top 3. AJ Wuhan and Aizen round out the top 5. Aizen, somehow, all of the medium tire runners qualified ahead of the soft tire runners. And Aizen, Sprunky, Ephraim, Victor, Maverick, Doomsray, your top 10. We've got One Wing, Rusty Oil Cannon, Cosmo, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Jordan, 14th. The last 2 did not set a qualifying lap.
Yeah, I'm lucky for Cosmo. He joined very late, and then he only got 1 attempt at it. And I think Jordan's doing it in the nature of having some fun and going through the pack today.
Yeah, absolutely. Aizen saying, I tapped the wall on the outlap, so I backed out enough for time to run out. So he didn't want to set a lap time there. He must have damaged his wing.
Yeah, I think he must have realised that the car was damaged already and he wasn't going to improve, so he might as well let the time run out.
And Aizen, in that case, just opting to settle for that P5, which is still a decent starting position here. That we could see chaos into turn 1, or into potentially just turn 2 and 3 there. It's a kind of a tight winding first couple of corners, and you could see a car attempt to move on the outside, make it only for the chaos to happen as they turn back left again towards the Raffles Boulevard. So we'll have to wait and see. We've got an exciting start coming. We've got a formation lap first. But I got to ask you, Mushroom, do you have any predictions at this point? You did mention outside of the top 5 potentially, but a concrete top 3 podium prediction from you.
I'm expecting Mark and Nazareth to be there, and I expect Aizen to be there. His spatial awareness on race day is next to none. He finishes quite a few races. So, if we do see a start like we tend to see in real life, where cars are getting shuffled out into the wall and stuff, I don't think we'll see Aizen involved. He normally keeps the car safe and gets it to the end, so I think Aizen's the outside shot to win just because of his car preservation skills.
Yeah, and it's a simple tap, a simple rub with the wall could change everything here. And it could mean the difference between a win and having to do an extra pit stop or 2.
We're looking at a 2-stop strategy for the medium runners if they're not wanting to stretch out a set of hard tyres, which would be a medium, medium, soft, or however you want to put that combination together.
Could see. We'll have to wait and truly see when everybody pits here. But Jordan Visser, we have to keep in mind, did an extra qualifying lap on those medium tires. That was his second run. So could potentially see the leader try to pit first and dictate the pit stop strategies.
Well, if I was the leader, I'd try to pit first just to save myself the undercut, because the undercut at street circuits like this, where the tyre degradation is so high, the undercut can be 2 or 3 seconds a lap if you're not on it. So I would pit first here to be safe, but going longer obviously helps you towards the end of the race. So it depends where you want to be stronger.
It could help you luck into a safety car pit stop as well, depending on when that comes out.
They might making sure he gets them tyres nice and warm Tokyo drifting.
And I don't want to get them too warm. It's going to give you a little bit of unnecessary wear, but mediums around this track, yeah, if you don't warm them up enough, you're going to have a very hard time on the start. It's going to be very slippy, and you could lose a couple of positions. And did you see the drift from Joran there?
Really showing the fans what these F1 cars can do in the modern day. But
yeah,
I'm going to go for an outside prediction on this first lap. The Asian gains 2 to 3 places just for the soft tyre benefit off the line.
All right, that's a bold call, giving the guys ahead of them, but we'll wait and see and hope that you did not just jinx them. Getting ready for the start lights here in Singapore, and the grid has lined up. We're waiting for the lights. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And in Singapore, we are off, and it looks like a decent start from the top 4. It's going to be Nazareth challenging Joran Visser into turn 1, pushing him wide, but Joran fighting back there. Nazareth, though, has the inside into the next corner. He's going to take the lead of this Grand Prix out of turn 3, and now onto Raffles Boulevard, going to try to extend that gap. It looks like your prediction not coming true. Aizen losing a position there. Yeah, I did see some positions shuffling. Jordan's up a few off this start. One wing down a couple. Down the inside of Jordan Visser now, it's CRL Mark, and CRL Mark is going to try to take second place. Jordan Visser not giving up just yet, but CRL Mark around the outside, holding on to that move and moving up to second place. A bad start from the Red Bull here from P1 to P3. We're halfway through lap 1. Behind him, you see Sprunky got past AJ Wuhan. Sprunky with a good start, but AJ Wuhan fighting back, and that Ferrari defending for all it can. And look at the lines AJ Wuhan's trying to get. You can tell that he knows he's faster. He's just trying to work his way around the Ferrari. Something must have happened off the start for Sprunky to slip by the Red Bull. But the 2 Red Bulls losing position off the start of this Grand Prix. Aizen down to P6. Doomsray up to P8. Ephraim has lost positions as well. Let's take a look at your position change graph, and it looks like it's 1 or 2 gained or lost from everybody. Nobody has fallen through the field.
Yeah, the 2 Force Indians kind of shot themselves down and ran into each other into turn 4, which is a massive shame. You never want to run into your teammate, and especially on the first lap.
Could potentially maybe some wing damage from one of them. We see one of them pitting. And yeah, indeed, Sprunky fighting there. And my timetable on the side is all messed up. It's got Sprunky in P2 right now. And so I was having trouble finding that battle. But it is, AJ Wuhan getting by the Ferrari finally. Now Sprunky's going to have to defend from Aizen. Aizen not looking to make a move just yet. But could Sprunky maybe have overexerted himself on the start here? Looks like AJ Wuhan's already run out of ERS for the lap, it's saying.
Yeah, I think he used a lot of ERS to overtake Sprunky, but I'm not getting that on my screen. You're getting maybe 1/3 depletion.
I think his ERS is glitched for me. It's not even giving me a percentage. It's just showing that he can't use it. So
he's on about 60%.
Yeah, a bit weird there. A bit of a weird glitch in the game. Nazareth, though, extending his lead. He's got 2.2 seconds ahead of Mark. Joran Visser catching back up to Mark. Under second, the gap. Then you got 2 seconds to AJ Wuhan, who's already put a 2.5 second gap between himself and Sprunky. And this is where the train starts. We've got 3 cars now right behind Sprunky. Aizen, Victor, you see them there. 2 cars behind Sprunky. And then after that, we've got another little train near Doomsray. So expect these guys to be where the fighting happens. Sprunky going defensive on the exit there, and it looks like with DRS enabled here, we're gonna start to see all these attempts at the overtakes.
Yeah, Aizen's on Sprunky, but I'd like to say Nazareth has left the gates at a canter, like he's gone. Ooh, good save by Victor to keep that out of the wall and let kid a 3.
Didn't quite catch that with our camera angle, but luckily for him, he's going to keep that front wing in one piece. But you can see he's lost some time, and he's actually fallen much closer to Doomsray.
Very Max Verstappen-esque, I may say. Even completely sideways at one point.
Good. Indeed, it was a good save. Aizen, you saw him thinking about that last second dive on Sprunky, thought better of it, and he's going to have to be satisfied with at least another sector of being behind him. The next DRS zone's coming up after the bridge.
Yeah, Jordan's making...
So Cosmo's out of the session. That's in the pits. So unhappy with the start of their race already.
Yeah, he was the one that got caught up with his teammate, so I'm putting that down to maybe a bit of early frustration from how the race turned out.
Yeah, around this...
here at the back.
Oh, Sprunky getting very close to the wall there. I was going to say, around this circuit, it's so unpredictable that around every circuit, I always say that you should finish out the Grand Prix, and that unless you're up to the point where it's obvious that there's no way you can recover. Like you're a lap down and there's 10 laps to go, kind of thing. Oh no, Sprunky! Oh, what a save! What a save from Sprunky! Loses the position, but keeps the car intact. And I thought for sure that was the end of Sprunky's race there. Game so close from sending it right to the wall, but keeps that Ferrari pointing the right way. And that's some good reactionary driving there from Sprunky.
Yeah, that would say the soft runners are maybe struggling with tyre temperature a bit, as Victor had a big moment in the back.
Sprunky again with it.
Tyres are going on.
Yes, Sprunky with another tank slapper there, and we're right on board with him. And you'll doesn't look like there's a whole lot of wear on the tires, but you can definitely see the grip levels have faded away. It's not the first soft tire runner we've seen struggle a little bit.
That was an amazing move by Maverick around the outside of Doomsday, but I think Jordan's the man to watch here for the race of the day, because these soft tyres are struggling. He's now crawling all over Doomsday.
Yeah, we see Jordan there in the Mercedes right behind him. He thought about going for it there.
10 out of 10 for creativity.
Yeah, that's not a normal overtaking spot, but it wasn't going to let Jordan stop from at least thinking about it and trying to take the wider line there to get a better exit. You can see a little bit of wheel spin on the when he was applying the throttle, though, and that might affect him. Oh, no! What's happened here?
No,
so Jordan looks like Jordan caught up to Doomsday, and I don't know if there was a miscommunication between the two drivers, but Jordan ended up going right into the back of him, and that sent Doomsday deep into the turn, and damage on Jordan, and DNF for Doomsday.
The virtual safety car is perfect for these soft car runners.
Some could be pitting here.
I think everyone needs to jump off these soft tyres, because as you can see, Aiden's fallen 6 seconds or more back off the back of Wuhan. I think that just shows you what the tyre is.
A lot of these guys opting not to pit under at least half of that safety car VSC. So I'm honestly unsure what happened with Jordan there. It looked like he was going to go for the move, and maybe there's moving twice from Doomsday. Our camera angle changed right when it happened, and could
a very good look at that.
Yeah, we'll have to rewatch the replay there on the stream, but potentially Jordan being confused on which side of the track Doomsday wanted and outbraking himself a la Red Bull in Baku. But we'll have to, we're going to have to wait until after this race to know for sure. I'm sure that's going to get reported.
Definitely disappointing for Jordan, because he was the best of the medium runners that wasn't on the softs. And now he's 10 seconds away from the rest of the medium runners, so let's hope his race pace can maybe pull him back onto the back of that pack with Ephraim, and Victor and Sprunky.
Yeah, Jordan, 10 seconds off of the ones who pit already, and he's a further 20 seconds off Rusty Oil Can. Maverick, who's ahead of Rusty Oil Can. That was One Wing making a move on Maverick there, and I thought he was going to go wide right into the wall, but no, he does keep it on track and makes the move up into P6.
Within a second. He's within a second now. He's got DRS and he's gaining. He's looking like B-Max could be under pressure.
Maverick with a stylish slide through turn 19 there, and turn 20. And I'm happy I caught that on stream. That would have been a lovely slow motion shot if this was an F1 rewind. But you're right, Jordan Vissard is catching up to CRL Mark. And could we see a move here? They've both been saving their ERS quite well.
Yeah, I'm looking at this as a very equal battle. I think this is going to come down to, do we want to fight and lose a bit more time to Nazareth, that's now 3.2 seconds up the road? Or do I just let him go for the sake of my race and his race, and maybe work together to get back onto the back of Nazareth, who's pulling maybe 2 or 3 tenths a sector at the minute? So he's looking like he's got some real pace up front, Nazareth, and Mark can answer it.
We haven't seen much of him, but that's because he's got such a big lead and has gone relatively unchallenged so far in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think that start getting into first really helps with the clean air, but it's to keep the pace lap after lap like that is really relentless on a track that's so long and the race is so long. So hopefully you can settle down and not make any mistakes in what is ultimately the longest race of the season.
And we are 7 laps through this longest race. Not yet at the quarter mark. That's going to come next lap. And once you start lap 8, we're going to be more or less at the quarter mark of this Grand Prix. So still a lot of racing to do. We've got 12 cars left. The 2 Red Bulls now are getting quite close because Jordan Visser has been catching up to CRL Mark. But at the same time, AJ Wuhan has been catching up to Jordan Visser. And could we see the Red Bulls fight potentially?
I think we're getting to a stage of real life F1 of dirty airs maybe affecting these guys, because Jeroen Visser can get within half a second, but then that gap strings back out to maybe 7/10, and unless Wuhan's got a lot more pace in him, I don't think we're going to see a move. I think we're going to see a DRS train until the pit stops.
I could see the Red Bulls potentially swapping position. I know these two are in a party right now. They normally race talking to each other, so could potentially see the 2 Red Bulls swap. Not going to be here if they do, as they both try to get the DRS on Mark. And Mark doing a great job holding these guys back despite not having DRS himself.
I think in this early stage, Wuhan's only been on the back of Visser for like one lap. So they'll be talking about who's got the better pace, who feels more comfortable at this stage. And they'll be working together to get the best result for the Red Bull team. But I don't think swapping at this stage is anything to worry about, because it's such a long race. You always get that position back later on, and with them being good friends, they're not going to do each other out of a position like that.
Yeah, then again, maybe they'll fight a little bit harder than they would have with a stranger. So not always pure positive having your friend chase you down. You see the gap, though. Nazareth coming through the front of the camera right now. CRL Mark, though, 3.5 seconds up the road, and still not able to either catch up to Nazareth or break away with the Red Bulls behind them. But I think Jordan Visser's trying to run out of juice here. That gap has been falling a little bit, and his teammate has been getting closer and closer and closer. So
Wuhan definitely looks like he's got more pace at this stage of the race, but it's hard to tell until you actually see that swap. I'd like to see it come this lap though, so Wuhan gets a chance before the pit stop, because I think at the minute they're holding each other up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody right now is on the medium tires with the exception of Jordan, who's on the hards. Penalty-wise, we've only got 2 people getting a 3-second, and Sparky actually got that one under VSC. So unfortunately for him, not when you want to be getting your warnings, because there's no advantages to be gained from doing it.
No, definitely not. And I'd like to show Jordan some love here. His gap's gone down from 10 seconds to 4.2 in a matter of only 2 laps, which is remarkable. Remarkable.
Some absolutely great pace, absolutely, from Jordan. And we've seen that gap drop a little bit from these back markers to the front as the front tires start to wear out a little bit. Of course, the guys further down the field had their tires... They're fresher, basically. They put them on later, so they're going to have a little bit more outright pace. Not surprised to see some of these guys falling. But overall, yeah, this top 4 is a long ways away from anybody near. Even when they pit, they're going to be coming out either right in front of or near One Wing. Assuming One Wing doesn't pit and keeps the same pace, he's 21 seconds back right now. They're still going to have a 10-second gap to the likes of Azen. So phenomenal pace from these front 4.
I do believe Azen is the fastest man on track currently.
He did have the fastest lap. He got it recently.
Yeah, I would believe on them 2-lap old tyres he'd be possibly the fastest man on track by the Maverick. But they're both, it looks like, a good 30 odd seconds behind the leader, if not further. So I think One Wing's the only person that's maybe in touch with this front pack now.
And One Wing does have to pit again, so I believe, yeah, he has not pit yet. So he's a full pit stop behind the leaders, and he still has to pit. So yeah, top 5 for One Wing as of now. If there's a safety car, that's going to be hugely beneficial for him. He's going to be able to get a free pit stop, basically. It's going to be hugely beneficial for this top 4 right now. So the guys further back, what they want to focus on right now is to not crash. If they bring out the safety car, they basically just put everybody ahead of them on the perfect strategy.
If I was VMark right now, I would possibly let the 2 Red Bulls go. Just on the pretext that they're now holding themselves up and the leader's now starting to pull. And maybe with another second or 2 on him, he's out of then undercut territory, and that gives him a lot of safety going forward into that first pit stop of what I believe will probably be 2. Or maybe 1 if we go on to the half.
I'm unsure about that, because VMark's not losing any time to the Red Bulls here. So if anything, he's costing them time. And so letting them go might be beneficial. At the very least, AJ Wuhan is going to hugely benefit from getting ahead of these 2 guys. If he's ahead, if they're both ahead of Mark, then AJ Wuhan has an easy pass on his teammate, because his teammate's not going to have any DRS.
Your reserve really needs to let Wuhan pass now if there's going to be a time, because he's costing his teammate the crucial tyre life that he's got, and he's now holding him up. He's within half a second consistently. I would let him pass as my teammate and let's see if he can pass Mark. Because if Wuhan can attack Mark, it also opens the door for your chances. Oh, VMark made a mistake though. This is going to get very close down the pit straight.
And they are super close. You saw that through the tunnel. It was almost nose to bumper. Actually, Mark's going to dive into the pits. And a little juke there from Mark, and he's going to dive into the pit stop for his pit stop. Try to trigger these and maybe get an undercut on Nazareth. And he's going to be going on to the hard tires, trying to go to the end most likely. He's actually going to fix his wing. Did Mark have wing damage?
Yeah, I think he may have caught the wall in that tunnel lockup that you seen just before he pitted. With that pit stop, it rules out any undercut off Nazareth. So I think that was the clever choice for Mark. It means that he'll come out P5, net P4. Oh, Asian's actually overtaken him in the pit stop, so that's some really good pace by Asian on them mediums. He's really made that time back to the top 4.
For sure. Asian might have to pit again, though. I don't think a soft medium is going to be doable around this circuit. So Mark is going to be looking to get that position back, but for the time being, Asian is probably going to have pace advantage until Mark's hard tires do get heat up and he does get better traction with it. Red Bull's still going at it, though. And AJ, yeah, go ahead.
I have a comment from Doomsray that says it's really frustrating again getting shunted from behind, but really good fun, and he had great fun. So I think it's great to see.
Completely understand.
The positives.
Yeah, Doomsday, if you're still watching the stream, if you hear us now, we did get the incident on stream, so you could probably scroll back and find it if you want an extra point of view for your stewarding report. It did get caught on stream. Looks like Jordan Visser going to be pitting first as a result of being the car ahead. And that means AJ Wuhan, actually Nazareth is in the pit as well. Yeah, so AJ Wuhan inherits the lead. And now I'm just going to see, I'm going to pull up his lap data here, and I want to see just how fast he can go with nobody in front of him. He's finally been released. Expect to see a lot of pushing.
Time for him. This is crucial time for Wuhan now. If he can maybe find an extra 5 seconds in 2 laps, he could have the lead right now.
Yeah, it's a tall task for sure. He's a 10th up on his best time in Sector 1 alone, but that's his best time, not his last lap. So he could be much quicker than that yet. I'm just looking at the gap between himself and Nazareth now that Nazareth is out of the pits. 22.5 seconds.
Under pressure from Victor. Not Victor, from One Wing under the pit stop, so he needs to not fall behind this Williams. That would be a really race-ruining moment for him.
Yeah, Cyril, Mark, and Aizen are battling a little bit. That's going to finish with Mark ahead of him. and isn't going to have to fall back to P6 for now, but net position right now, Ethan's just going to have to worry about one wing, because these guys ahead are probably too far for him to do anything about it, but one wing he can do something about, and that is the position he's going to want to take.
If I was VMark right now, I would be praying that one wing either pits this lap or doesn't put up much of a fight, because if 2-3 laps behind this, it could drop him behind Wuhan, the shirt, even further. It would really hurt his race and drop him off that top 3. So let's hope VMark can overtake one wing pretty quickly and not get too stuck.
AJ Wuhan in the pits. We're going to ride on board with him and see where he's going to come out. And
I don't think Nazareth is under threat, but I think his teammate definitely will
No,
be.
Nazareth is absolutely going to be coming out ahead of Wuhan. And coming through turn 1 is Nazareth. You can see the Red Bull coming out of the pits here. And where's Jordan Visser going to go? Look how close they are. And it's going to be Jordan Visser getting out ahead. And actually, AJ Wuhan's going to be out of DRS range, so he's going to have to do all that work again and try to pass his teammate, but on the hard tires this time. But I do want to point out that gap to Nazareth has gone down ever so slightly. It was getting closer to 4 seconds. It's now up to 3.5.
I think we're seeing a very rare occasion here where the 2 Red Bulls were way quicker than the McLaren, and they've actually managed to overcut VMark, which is something I wouldn't have expected to see on a track with such higher tyre wear.
Absolutely. He's doing quite well. Now, I'm just looking at the strategy here. One Wing did pit as well. He's dropped down all the way to 9th. He's not going to have to pit again, I don't think. I'm just thinking these guys that put on the medium tires as their first pit stop, when are they going to pit again? And in my head, I'm saying probably around lap 20. But and do a soft medium, which seems like the smart thing to do here. Some might push it just a little bit, do a soft, medium, soft, but either way, they're gonna have to pit again.
Looking at the tyre data, I think Victor might make it to that target lap 20, lap 22, but the rest are on 6 to 7 lap hold tyres apart from Maverick, so I would expect them to pit maybe within the next 5 to 6 laps, which would put us maybe just below that 20 target that they would be aiming for. So hopefully we'll see people like Asian and Sprunky extend that stint so they can go a bit further in the race later on.
Absolutely. Only a single VSC this race, and we have to admit we were expecting a little bit more, but with such a smaller field, the cars do get to spread out a little bit more, and less incidents when you're running alone and not really worrying about overtaking or anything. We saw Jordan, of course, make contact with Doomsray. That led to the only virtual safety car we have. Since then, we've been running under green. We are now approaching the halfway point of this Grand Prix. We'll call it lap 15 for the sake of simplicity, but realistically, when we get halfway through Sector 2 on lap 15, we're going to be halfway through this race.
Jeroen Visser is slowly losing time to Nazareth again, so Nazareth, it looks like he has actually got race winning pace right now, and Sprunky looked like he may be coming under pressure from the AlphaTauri as well. Oh,
so
Wuhan
I think Wuhan, so I saw Mark closed up to him quite a bit there in that straightaway, and I saw that gap close up. It was about 4/10 starting the last DRS straight. It finished at about a 10th, and then I think AJ Wuhan making a mistake on the exit of that corner, that gave the position to Mark, and that's let his teammate get absolutely away, and he's pitting again, and I don't see any wing damage from AJ Wuhan. So is he just unhappy with the hard? Oh, he's retired.
Oh, okay.
And
I wonder. I'm assuming that'll be a personal.
Yeah, I mean, he is a reserve driver, so it is possible that he just wanted to get some practice and doesn't want to steal any points from the top runners, but potentially either an equipment or otherwise issue there, because I didn't see any damage on that car, and he was running quite well.
Yeah, you could be right with the practicing, or as a lot of us are now becoming fully functioning adults, you have other things in life you've got to sometimes attend to, so I would put that down to him just not taking points for keepsake. I think he doesn't want to take points off people that are fighting for the championship, such as Sprunky, Maverick, One Wing, Victor.
It's Ephraim DeBone has been catching Sprunky quite a bit, hasn't he? He's down to half a second behind, and I've seen him think about the move a few times in the past few laps. Not anywhere has he been close enough. Not down Raffles Boulevard, not down the second DRS straight, certainly not down the main straight. It's way too short. But it has not stopped him from trying. And Ephraim trying to work his way up to P5 in this race. It was a battle for P6, but with AJ Wuhan dropping out, they've all gotten a free promotion.
Yeah, patience is key. For Ephraim right now, because although it's frustrating being stuck up behind the back wing of the Ferrari, a rash move will do you no favours either. So I think patience will prevail here, as long as nothing too risky is thrown down the inside at this stage. He's looking a lot closer on this DRS straight now though.
He is. Yeah, and the side by side they go, and it's gonna be an easy one. Finally gets it done, and Sprunky didn't even have a chance to fight for it. Just went right by the Ferrari, and the AlphaTauri moving himself up into P5. Ephraim en route for his best result in a few races here.
Sprunky is not only running on about 4% ERS, he's now just hit the wall for good measure.
Don't see any damage on that Ferrari, but we've seen that happen today, where it doesn't look like there's any damage, and it turns out that it is costing them time. So hopefully that doesn't cost the Ferrari too much time. Maverick is catching up to One Wing. I haven't seen either of these guys much on the stream today, but that gap about a second now. They are the closest two cars on track.
Both drivers that have had what I would say is challenging seasons this year, but both have made good progress throughout the season and showed that they've definitely learned from this Division 4 experience. And I think One Wing's performances in the last 2 to 3 weeks have really shown, instead of getting them DNFs like he did in the first few rounds, he's now bringing it home for points and now and again top 10 finishes, which he would really be happy for.
And oh no, Sprunky is retired in the pits.
Oh dear.
Has he retired in the pits?
Yeah, he has retired in the pits, but I'm not.
I mean, at this point, it's just. Yeah, but at this point, I don't know why you would, if only because there's now 10 cars left in this race, and the 10th place is 10 points in this championship.
For Sprunky, that was a little bit nonsense making for me, because he had a solid 6th place there with a pit stop behind him to One Wing, and
he would have really kept that position. He could have pit and kept that position.
Yeah, he would have kept that position, and it would have really helped him in the championship with points, because not that 10 points for 10th is bad, but surely more points for 6th would be better. It
absolutely would be. And instead he's not going to get any. Oh no! Nazareth has indeed spun. And is there damage on the Renault?
No, he did a perfect 180 onto the pit lane, but that would be frustrating. He had a comfortable lead there.
And that's going to give Jordan Visser the lead of this race.
Yeah, that was a silly mistake, as Nazareth I think would say it himself, because he didn't need to be pushing that hard.
No, sometimes all it takes is a little bit of curve, but around he goes, and a mistake he wishes he could have back more than likely there. Nazareth dropping a P2, and luckily for him, able to recover early enough that Mark has not caught up to him. 2.1 seconds, the gap behind. Does look like he's struggling just a little bit on some of these corners. I'm wondering if maybe there's a little bit of light green damage on that Renault. Nothing visually, but I did see him. It would look to be struggling just ever so slightly to get the car turned around.
Oh, Maverick's out in the pit lane as well.
And another car is retired from the pit lane, and I mean, guys, come on. There's
becoming a bit of a farce now.
There's 9 cars left. You're guaranteed free points. You could just pop the car into AI. And no, come on, guys. We've got a race to commentate, and it's tough when there's only 9 of you left.
Yeah, I think Nazareth should give us the only bit of action we've seen in a few hours. Oh, there's a bit of yellow front wing. Nazareth has hit the wall. He's got front wing damage.
Oh, Nazareth does have front wing damage, and I wonder if maybe.
He's hit him.
Yeah, well, he is pitting now, that's for sure. But I wonder if maybe there was a little bit of light green damage, and that caused him to go wide, and another car retiring.
Oh,
and guys, come on.
So VMAC is currently in place to take the championship lead.
Yep. And, well, this is going to be a great end of the Grand Prix. Every car is over 5 seconds apart, including 2 40-second gaps. So, let me just, we'll keep this race running. There's not going to be any battles to be had, but not sure what's going on with these drivers today.
Yeah, personally, I think Jordan still has potential of catching one wing. Hopefully, because he's only 10 seconds away. Maybe Mark can take a bit of a fight to the sure, but it's never nice to see 4 or 5 cars retire in the pit lane, especially when we've only got a short grid. But we'll continue to try our best to bring you some decent coverage from the Singapore Grand Prix for Division 4. One wing is only about 5 seconds away.
Top 15 is points in this league. We give points all the way to top 15. Every driver who started this race was guaranteed points on the championship, and they don't want them apparently.
I think Doomsray is the only person I will excuse from that DNF list for turning down 3 points.
Well, Doomsray didn't choose to retire. Yeah. Doomsray got hit into a wall. He's the only one out of this grid out of everybody who's retired right now in this Grand Prix, he's the only one who did not do so voluntarily.
Yeah. I think Nazareth, that was really, really showing the inexperience he's got in this league so far, because his championship fight so far had been going well. It had some good performances, so I think turning down what would have been an easy 3rd place was a little bit inexperienced, but he'll learn from that, and I'm sure in a few years we'll be talking about possibly one of the best drivers in ISRL.
Could be. Time will tell, but promise is being shown for sure.
Ephraim and Jordan are going to come out real close.
And yes, apologies to all the viewers who wanted to watch an exciting race, because there's not much, happening right now.
There's not much to bring you.
Yeah. Everybody's spread out around the circuit. The smallest gap currently is 5.3 seconds between Mark and Jordan Visser. That one has not changed in a few laps. We've got 11 laps to go though, and I wouldn't expect, unless somebody bins it really close to somebody else, I wouldn't expect much to change. The gap from P1 to P2 is 5.4, from P2 to P3, 36 seconds. You can see just how spread out these cars are.
Ephraim is on new tyres, one wing is on 6-lap old hard. So let's see if Ephraim can catch one wing and take a bit of a battle for the last few laps to give us something to cheer about under the lights in Singapore tonight.
And let's hope, because let's just hope somebody catches somebody. That's all I'm I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for. I just want to see some action. We'll try to give everybody a little bit of love on the stream right now because we don't have much to watch. So let's give every car a little chance to shine.
Ephraim is catching. He's gone down from 3 seconds to 1.5. So
Basin with the fastest
we will
lap.
have a battle.
Yeah.
Asian picking up that one extra point that he doesn't get at the end of the day.
Jordan Visser with a penalty. That could come into play here with the gap at 5.6 seconds.
That'll really fire V-Mark up and really push him to find that extra 2 seconds and get within that 3 seconds. So hopefully we can see them to have maybe a 3-second shootout for the win.
Still catching that gap just now, almost going under 1 second down the straightaway, down into 8 tenths as we hit the braking zones. You can see that's where Ephraim has more pace, more grip, and was absolutely close that gap up quite quickly. I don't think this is going to be a battle One Wing's going to win or even hold on to much longer, but you know what? At least we've got one, right?
Pitted. You're on the pitted. Onto the mediums. So V-Mark takes the lead.
Yeah, Jordan Visser is indeed pitting. Did he potentially, that's a long pit stop, did he break his wing potentially?
Or has he thought about this penalty and thought, well, if Mark gets close, I might not be able to respond? So do I just take the risk of trying to catch him back up and taking that place off him and then knowing that I've got that answer to that 3-second penalty?
That's a tough one. I didn't see, it did look like a long pit stop, but I did not see if he changed that front wing. It is a long pit stop. He came out almost 30 seconds behind Mark. So a front wing change there going on for Jordan Visser. And that is why he pit, is because he was going to lose way too much time with a busted wing, I think.
He does now have 10 lap younger tyres than Mark, so I'm expecting a considerable pace difference.
Ephraim now is going to have his best opportunity to catch up, opens up the DRS and slides in right behind One Wing. And One Wing hugging the wall so much, he actually hits it a little bit, but not going to affect this battle too much. Ephraim slips out ahead and takes 4th place. And now we're going to be back into a state of no battles, I think.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'd like to see this battle roll on for maybe a lap or 2 longer, but I'm not hopeful.
We'll keep these 2 out there because we've got 2 cars in the shot, and that's the only place on the circuit that we can get that right now. We'll...
AJ Wuhan has said he had to retire due to a uni-related issue, so we wish him all the best in getting that one sorted. I think Jeroen Visser is catching at about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds a lap, so if he can keep this up for the entirety of the race, he might have a sniff of a chance at it. It's a very tall order.
Could be. Visser. But he does need Mark to pit again. There's no way he catches that gap up without Mark heading back into the pits. And why would Mark dive back into the pits at this point?
A set of soft tyres wouldn't be a bad shout right now. He still has the pit stop advantage. He'll come out ahead, and it would allow him to pull away and have a comfortable finish to the end of this race. If I was Mark, knowing that he's pitted for a front ring replacement and he's given me essentially 7 seconds, I would take that opportunity to pit and make the race a bit more comfortable for myself.
Yeah, I mean, he had the gap. He no longer, because it's Jordan Visser has closed that gap up significantly in the last few laps. We saw it as high as 28 seconds, down to 22.9. So the gap is there, but I don't think he's going to have the laps needed to make this comeback happen. 24 out of 31 laps completed. Or rather, our leader has just started lap 24.
if you mark, you try and put your head down, you ignore the lap counter, you ignore the second counter, and you just focus on hitting them apexes and bringing the car home. Because you don't want to be responding to that fastest lap and put yourself in the wall, trying to go faster than the guy behind on fresher tyres. You just want to try and focus and get into your own quiet zone so you can finish this race as quickly and cleanly as possible. Because I see Mark winning this race currently, but the amount of time that your own Visser is taking out of him will have you sweating no matter how cool a driver you are.
Yeah, and I have to wonder just how much longer he can keep that up.
Yeah, 2 fastest laps after fastest laps. It's a bit Lewis Hamilton-esque. Let's see if he can do the complete Lewis Hamilton takeover of Hungary and catch him up and overtake him with maybe 1 or 2 laps remaining.
Props to Victor and Rusty Olecan for hanging in this Grand Prix despite being well out of contention here. I'm sure they're going to be quite happy to just get some free points. Victor could absolutely use them in his battle up the championship order. He is sitting, I believe, P4, P5 currently. So a lot of points still that he wants to get.
Rusty Olecan was officially 1 lap down. At some point, he's managed to hold in there, despite everything, to get an 8th place, because at one point he was 13. So I think that really shows retiring in the pit lane can cost you 4 or 5 places. And Rusty Olecan's been a great advertisement for staying in, can gain you extra points, and they make all the difference in the joint constructors, in his championship battle, and if they did 4 constructors alternatively as well.
Yeah, and it just even if just staying in the race, it's good practice. You know, it's good practice for the weekend. We've got some more races on Sunday, of course, as everybody knows, and it's good practice just in general in terms of your racecraft and knowing the circuit, knowing how the tires degrade around here. So it will never not pay off to at least see the race through the end. And even the worst
got more wing damage. That's his fight over for this win, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. He's pushing a little bit too hard potentially.
So but does this leave Asian with a chance of nicking a 2nd place podium?
Yeah, it's going to be probably the biggest gap between 1st and 2nd position we've seen in a quite some time.
So Victor's P3 in the championship. Behind Ephraim, so Ephraim will make small advantage on that lead he's got, but this is crucial points for him against people like Sprunky, who's 5th, Doomsray 7th, and One Wing, who's going to make a bit of a indentation again, but it's really damage limitation for him, and I think this has been a really strong race to show character building for a driver.
Absolutely, and another thing...
Mark's pitted.
Oh, Mark has pitted. And Jordan Visser has not pitted.
Is Mark listening to the stream? Does he know Visser has damage?
I wouldn't be surprised if they were in the same party, or at the very least, yeah, you might be watching the stream here. Yeah, Jordan Visser with that wing damage, choosing not to pit, that basically means Mark's going to have just absolute outright pace. He's going to steal the fastest lap from Mason too, as well. Victor's pit on the softs as well.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to lose by getting the fastest lap. For Victor, it's more damage limitation. For Mark, it gives him an 11-point lead over Kurt Vayler if he wins, or a 34-point, or a 4-point lead, should I say, over Kurt Valletta on his return in the next round. But in the combined Constructors' Championship we've got going on, this is really positive for people like Williams, Mercedes, and most importantly, I think, Force India. They're lacking in points, they're down in 8th, but they're fairly close with the team below them, which is Renault, and they've made big indentations on that today. Both cars getting points.
Racing points, I mean, the Red Bulls as well not having the greatest time in the combined Constructors' Championship, but still, points are points, and that's why I always advocate you should, at the very least, just finish through your races, because you don't know when there's going to be a late safety car. You don't know if the guy in front of you is going to spin out. You don't know if you're going to be able to catch up, and until it's absolutely sure that there's no way you're going to get back in this Grand Prix, or again, in the case of Doomsray, you don't really have a choice in the matter, then you should see your races through. And yeah, you're right, VMark, or sorry, CRL Mark, as he's now known, already caught up to Jordan Visser. You can see the wing damage that Jordan Visser has, how much it's hampering him. And all over the rear is C-Mark, and Jordan Visser getting a little cheeky on the defend there. C-Mark didn't know what side he was going to go on, and Jordan Visser, knowing he's not going to be able to challenge that, and hitting the brakes well early to just slot back in and carry on with his race. I think he just wants to get to the end of this. 4 full laps of racing left.
VMark had one of the most brutal outlaps I think I've ever seen. He took him 7.5 seconds out of Jeroen Visser, and in the last corner was all over him like a rash. That was quite some outlap. If I don't say so myself, I think Mark deserves a little round of applause for going out and smelting them soft tyres in 2 laps.
Yeah, he made the right decision to pit there. He's going to get the fastest lap here for sure, with, of course, getting DRS off of Jordan Visser there. And you can see the gap already, almost 3 seconds. That's not just pace difference. Yeah, Jordan Visser does have wing damage, so, and those tires are a little bit older and the harder compound, but still, VMark absolutely flying out there. 136.649 is the fastest lap from this guy.
That's only about a second off what we're seeing in quali, so I would say that's a quali time with the fuel these boys have been running.
Jordan Visser retired. That one was expected. He is a reserve, and he does retire at the end of his sessions.
So but they're just gonna pick up a second place.
Yeah, Aizen's gonna get promoted into P2.
Yefrome is gonna get 4th. One wing is it's all gonna go down 1. So everyone's gonna go up 1. So one wing is now borderline a podium, depending whether Aizen retires or not.
He got one last week. Victor finished P3, got a penalty, pushed him down below One Wing, who finished P4. So One Wing did maybe could potentially, if something happens to Ephraim, get a second straight podium. But as it stands, definitely looks like he's going to be slotting into the P4 slot there on the grid. And lap 28 out of 31. We are getting to the end of this one, guys. We are getting to the end of this one.
One Wing's progress through this championship has been incredible. If you see his first race in the thing, in the championship, it was let's say poor. But now he's coming from like outside of the top 10 to a P4, 2 weekends in a row. I think that shows incredible progress and learning curve that he's been on in ISRL. And I think this will feel a lot more special to him in Singapore if he can get the podium on track, because it's always good getting a podium off penalties, but you want to get it on track. You want that feel-good feeling of seeing your little character on the podium. And it's not a lot, but it makes you smile, and it really makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely. Lap 29 now, and still, the closest battle on track is between Victor and being lapped, and he's just succumbed to it as Cyril Mark overtakes or laps 6th place there.
Rusty Oil Can, once again the great advocate of why you should finish races, has gained 1 more place from being dropped dead last and a lap down all race. He's made it to 7th. So the character building journey he's been on will get rewarded with a good amount of points for the lap.
It's certainly not fun, but you gotta see, you gotta respect that and see races through and get the point. It's free points. Why wouldn't you do it? You know, if you're P18 and there's 4 laps left, go ahead. You're not racing for anything. But there's not even 15 drivers in the session. You're guaranteed points. You gotta go get them. And
Rusty Oil Can unfortunately collected Cosmo off the line. and Cosmo had chosen to retire in the pit lane on that first lap, and Rusty Okan pitted on the exact same lap and stayed to the end. And I think that shows, if you stay, them extra points you can get. And although he's been a lap down for all of it, and by no stretch has it been fun for him, he's going to get rewarded with an extra 10 points maybe. And for Force India and for his championship fight especially, that will make all the difference going forward.
So got a message here from Nazareth explaining a little bit on that spin. Apparently his controller turned off there in the last corner and that caused the spin.
Well, I think it was a very good save then, if that was the case. Oh, Rusty Okan's gone straight on into turn 19.
And at this point, if he does retire, he actually is going to be classified. So at this point, he could retire and still get the points.
I want to see Rusty Okan finish this race because he's had such a tough one.
Well, he's going to pit now,
nice
so...
to see him go all the way. Go on, Rusty Okan, do it for yourself. You've done 31 laps, a lap down. One more won't hurt, and it will really show character, I think.
And we'll see what happens here.
I think he's gonna finish.
I think he will pit and carry on there. He does want to get those points.
Because I think if someone like Asian does retire, which I don't think he's going to, seeing the hard, long, boring race he's endured for this second place, I think he'll take it. I would, personally. But VMAC, most importantly, does now start the last lap, where he should take the championship lead off Kurt Valletta, who's had it for almost all the season, if not all the season. And it's easier swing in power, 11 points in Mark's favour, so heading towards the last few rounds, I expect this to get a lot closer, a lot more intense, and with them two being friends as well, it's going to be a bit of pride and a bit of bragging rights as well for the boys. So hopefully these two can put on a real show next round and we can have a more full grid as well going forward.
Absolutely. This is a one-off. We normally have an almost full grid here in Division 4, but we will definitely try to at least have some more drivers next week. On the weekends, though, we've got a packed grid no matter what, and that is on Sunday. And make sure to watch all day. Starts at 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UK, and goes on basically until 11 p.m. UK, 5 p.m. Eastern-ish, more or less those times. Basically, we got racing all day, so tune in around this channel on then if you don't know already. But lap 31 here, Mark coming to the line. He's going to win in Singapore, second straight win in Division 4, and I believe he is going to officially take the lead of the Division 4 championship.
Yeah, and he's not going to win this race by a little margin. It's only going to be winning by half a minute.
And 30-second lead, Mark is going to cross the line, and
he's waiting. He's
going to wait, but I think his AI, he tried to do a burnout, and the AI there almost taken over, and when he does start his burnout, he's going to end up crossing the line. So I do hope Aizen knows that his car is parked there and does not smack into him.
He's now moving away. The Singapore fans should have enjoyed that, saying they've only had 7 cars for the last 10 laps. So I think it shows good sportsmanship. Asian comes in and for a good and well-deserved second place. Ephraim to come through for which has to be a hard-fought third place. I bet he didn't see that coming. And One Wing again coming in for another 4th place on track. So I think his season's really turned around in the last 2 races. It's showing really good potential and making a last-dash push up that table in the championship.
And yeah, fireworks up in the sky. Your top three: Mark, Azen, Ephraim. The one wing crossing the line afterwards. Jordan, Victor, and Rusty Olcan. He's going to end up finishing a lap down there, but he will finish. And good on him for seeing the end of this race through. A lot of retirements there. Some reserves just retiring out of courtesy. Some retiring from frustration. Some retiring for other reasons. I don't know, but finished with 7 finishers here. And yeah, that's the end of our Grand Prix. Rusty Olacan is going to cross the line here. We're going to head off to the race director screen. We're going to end the stream there, guys. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and liked or supported this stream in any way. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for watching. I'm ISRL Knight, ISRL Mushroom in the booth with me. Finally, I have a co-com and Mushroom making a comeback to ISRL, but on the voice calling side. And appreciate you guys tuning in. That was the Division 4 Singapore Grand Prix. And I don't know, Mushroom, if you have any words to say before we part ways here and end the stream.
I want to say it's a pleasure to be back. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to co-com the rest of Division 4 to see how this awesome VMARK and Kurt Valletta fight pans out over the last few remaining rounds, and hopefully we'll be able to crown a champion.
Absolutely. So thank you to everybody who's tuned in. We'll see you on Sunday for the Divisions 3 to Division 1 Grand Prix. And I hope everybody takes care and enjoys their week. We'll see you guys again, same track, Singapore, all day Sunday on ISRL Esports. Have a excellent rest of your days.